modern day Hitchcock. Honestly, that's the real reason. It was an incredible narrative challenge, intrinsically tied with an incredible technical challenge. The narrative part was sort of my responsibility. The rest was his.
Yeah.
And and also just Rodrigo, I think I'm underplaying how effective this letter is that he wrote. It was pretty amazing. I mean, you really, I can only be as good as my director. I mean, film is a director's medium as much as we actors love to take as much credit as possible. But he's the architect and he's the engineer, and I would literally do a broad, ridiculous rated R comedy with him if he would have me. I would do anything with this guy. So.
I could kiss him now.
David?
You on the aisle there in the back, yeah.
How was it for both of you? How much?
No, choose. For both of you, no.
Okay.
You have to choose. Show your personality. Make it brave.
How was it for you to work with just one actor on set most of the time? How was it to have that relationship with one person rather than having to work with an entire cast day to day?
Well, from the very first moment, we knew from our first meeting that it was going to be a two-people dance. So we needed to trust totally each other, and I must say that he's the best dance partner a heterosexual director can ask for. But
Really? No, the heterosexual part? You promised some things you haven't delivered, my friend.
Actually, the nightmare of shooting an entire movie like this inside a box is not doing that inside a box, but doing it in real time. Because, yeah, you have only one actor, and you cannot cut to the other actor or to the reaction if something doesn't work. He has to be perfect and honest the whole time, and even physically in his position or whatever. Because if something is wrong and then you cut to him, you are going to notice. So everything has to be a perfect choreograph. I don't know where I'm looking at actually. So anyway, yeah, it's around there. Okay, perfect. I mean, in a regular film, if an actor breaks down and he cries, you can come out to an exterior of Central Park, and with the sound of the traffic, and then go on with the film. But here, you have to see him crying. He's recovering himself, and he's going on. And it cannot be an attention valley. You have to keep the rope tight. So that was really, really difficult. It's difficult to notice when you see the film, but that was the real nightmare. But, well, it was a great collaboration, actually. I could do whatever with him. He was a gift. He's like a Stradivarius. He's taller than I. That's the problem, the only problem. But thank God he's seated now, and so you.
Is someone recording this? I got this back from my mom.
There actually, I mean, there are other actors that you use for the voices, and I want to ask in particular about I don't remember his name, the British gentleman. It's interesting that you...
Dan Brenner.
Yeah, Dan Brenner, okay. So that there is something about a British voice that is calming and authoritative, even though he's supposed to be
That's what I said! It's like this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's British, which makes no sense at all.
That's sometimes mistaken for intelligence, that accent. But anyway, but I'm curious, was that intentional? Was it supposed to be somebody that kind of sounded like they knew what they were talking about, or?
Well, he came. Rob is his name. Rob Patterson, not the other one. He's an expat living in Barcelona. And he came in and he sort of read for the guy to play all the other roles. So I just had one person, but it ended up being a friend of mine who I've worked with for years. She came over and played all those roles instead. But he ended up being the voice of Dan Brenner, which was really just, he had a great voice, and it just worked out that way.
No, he's terrific. All right, let's see here. We gotta have. All right, you right here.
Since this seems like a tough shoot, so how much room was there to improvise on the set, directing-wise and acting-wise?
Well, there was not much room there, I can tell you. So there was not much room for improvising either. No, we had to shoot in 17 days. That's crazy. That's nightmare. I mean that instead of shooting the regular number of 8 to 10 shots a day, and if you are very fast, you can do, I don't know, 15, we did about 30 to 35 shots a day every day. One day we did 52. So I can tell you that we couldn't improvise, we just shot. We didn't even rehearse. I remember the first day, Ryan told me that he thought it was not a good idea rehearsing. And I said, are you lazy? He said, no, I want to discover the things that the character discovers at the same time that him. And, well, he was right. I could notice that he was serious. And actually, when we were shooting, we never rehearsed. I remember that the first day, we tried to do a kind of blocking at the beginning of the day. It simply didn't work. We decided just to shoot. We didn't even rehearse. We shot even the first day. We shot the rehearsals. So that's how fast we made it.
I didn't plan on I didn't think about the screaming at the beginning, all that yelling, and I ripped my vocal cords apart. I mean, I lost my voice the first day of shooting. I didn't lose it. It just turned into this kind of like, sort of like squeaky George Burns kind of thing that was going on up there. But every day when I woke up in the morning, I had to grab a towel, wrap it around my mouth, and scream until I lost my voice again. And I still think about my poor fucking neighbors in Barcelona listening to this mass murderer who lives next door.
Bureaucracy,
Yeah, you think, oh, it's Javier, it's the terrorists that are killing this guy, is it the lack of oxygen, is it the common? I see his bureaucracy is going to kill this guy, and there's nothing you can do about it.
All right, let's go to the back here. Yes, you right there. Yes.
Ryan, this is for you. Do you prefer working on comedies like Proposal, or do you prefer horror movies, and why?
Isn't this funny enough?
What? You didn't laugh? I don't have a preference. I love doing what I do. I mean, I always feel like I'm very fortunate that they just keep letting me do it. So my career, if I'm going to speak about that and not sound like an idiot, is that it was by inches and it was an aggregate. It was very slow, and because of that, I didn't have this meteoric success in one genre, despite 12, maybe 15 High School Musical auditions. I did not make the cut. And, but it was actually a blessing, even though I was going after that, and I was able to kind of do all of it, and I'm really lucky. It's just dumb luck that I get to do it. But I don't have a preference. I wish I did, but I love them all. I love movies.
Yeah, I always dreamt on burying Sandra Bullock, by the way.
Oh, watch it.
Yeah.
I love the score, actually. I thought it was cool. I was kind of surprised by how obvious the score was. But, you know, every other kind of movie like this I'm thinking of where it's very claustrophobic on one person, there's usually very minimal score. So was there ever a consideration of not having a score and just, you know, making it very minimal?
No, never. I needed music and I needed this music, but actually we did a kind of experiment here because we started to work on the music on the second week of editing. It never happens because we needed to find a buried sound, which is very difficult to find because at the beginning, for instance, with the beginning of the credit sequence, we have this great music that tells us that we are going to see something big, not something experimental or obscure or good for museums, but a high-tension thriller. And the music explodes with all the orchestra. So we are ready to listen to the silence. You remember the beginning of the film with 3 minutes of pitch black? You can't hear anything and you don't know if something's happening. You think that you heard something. You don't know if it's your partner or if it happened on the screen. Okay, you have to be ready to listen to that. And that's because of this music at the beginning. But from this moment on, you are in trouble because we don't have music for 10, 15 minutes, and the first note is going to be an intrusion. So you have to be very careful. So the first notes are so low, the lower notes of every instrument of the orchestra, in a very primal way, very subterranean. Everything is very primal in this film, from the rough bull to the sound, to the sweat, to the blood, to the whatever hit, and little by little it evolves. And at the beginning it's just percussion in a very abstract way, and little by little evolves, showing who Javier is with these Middle Eastern notes. And at the end you have epic sounds. At the end you have this full orchestra sounding in a very epic way, and you don't know how it happened. So it was step by step. So we had to have a very high control of nuance to make this possible. Victor Reyes, who is the composer, did an amazing job. Yeah, I'm very proud of what he did.
No, it was the most unexpected thing in the movie, but it was great.
You know, just before I forget, I just read an article today, an interview with Guillermo del Toro. He's in Toronto because he's got a couple films there that he produced, and he was talking about the state of sort of independent horror, and he specifically said that now is the time for filmmakers who are doing it to be bold and to do things that seem impossible. And he specifically mentioned Buried as a prime example of that, and I think that's exactly what you've done here, is do something, that's impossible and bold as hell, and you pulled it off. Okay, we got a couple more questions that we've got time for. Wait, I'm gonna get you in the back there. Yep.
So you said that you underestimated how tough this shoot was with Buried. What ended up being more taxing on you as an actor? Something like Buried or something like Green Lantern?
They're obviously really different, but I'll tell you, the thing I wasn't really ready for when I walked into Buried was that I had to light myself in every scene. I know that sounds like a silly little thing, but it was kind of the bane of my existence. I had so many things to think about, and
You and your DP have a lot of experience with the very low light, just natural lighting, or was this a new thing for you?
We have a lot of experience. We have been buried alive for years. That's what it is.
yeah.
Well, it was tough too, because we lived in the edge. I mean that we use practical light almost the whole time. When he uses the Zippo, the lighter, he's using an actual Zippo, and that's what we have there, and nothing more. And that's something that I wanted, so everybody could feel and touch the film. So everything was totally physical and believable. So you only can see what he can see. So when he moves the cell phone, of course, it's not the real screen, it's a system of LEDs, and so you can see what he's seeing, but nothing more. And when you have darkness, you have pitch black. I mean, in a regular film, when you have darkness, you can see things. This is that kind of fake darkness when you assume that you are seeing things that the main role character is not able to see. But here, you are seeing exactly what he sees. So we really, really live on the edge the whole time. And actually, there were a couple of sequences in which we went too far. So we had to